Hi guys, welcome to Biker Talk. The Sydney suburb of Pyrmont is not the usual place you'd find a bike that we're going to show you today, but it's a beautiful little harbourside suburb, so I'm going to sit down and have a chat to Chris Keeple, the barbering biker, about her Indian chief, Calamity Jane.
Well, I don't want to give too much of my age away, but I reckon I've been riding over 30 years. My then husband had a bike and I hated being a pillion. So I started riding early 20s. Then I started having babies, so I sort of calmed it down a bit. And then once the kids got a little bit older, I got back on the horse, so to speak. And not even side saddle. It's a little Suzuki 250 thing. I don't know much more than that. And the day I was able to go up a level, the whole bike just fell to bits. It's like it knew its time had come. My first real big bike was a Harley Davidson Sportster 883 Custom. And I loved that bike and it loved me. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever ridden as well as I did on that bike because it was so light. I used to throw that thing around like a BMX. It was wonderful. But like all bike riders, we just want to keep getting bigger and better. So I've certainly gotten big and I've gone through quite a transition of bikes up until Calamity Jane now. This is a Indian Chief Vintage 2017 model. I'm a bit of a designer, bit of a customiser, and I know she's overcooked and I know there's a lot going on. But that's me, and I've created this story now with this Indian, and I had a clear vision. I had this thing that I wanted to create, a very equestrian, steampunk, Western vibe. So when I got the Chief, I started the design work, and I keep adding. I go all over Australia, and I love going into junk shops because I always pick up something. And people say to me, Chris, you can't possibly put more shit on that bike. And I go, you watch me. Already she's about over 400 kilos. With me on it, we're half a tonne of fun. She's a bit of a job to pick up sometimes. I've only dropped her 3 times, but I figure it's a great way to meet blokes. The biggest addition to Calamity Jane is the saddle. So there's a full-blown horse saddle on the back for the pillion. It's the most, I don't pillion people, it's more a cosmetic thing, but it is functional and it can be used, but it's very hard and uncomfortable. I've bespoke the Indian saddle bag, so I had these old saddle bags, vintage bags that I got from Japan. The bags have got this equestrian thing, they've got horse bits on it and things like that. I've got belts all over the place. I've got a roll bag at the front with my logo on it. I've got heat shields that have been specially made, feathers. Oh, and I've added a suitcase at the back for the barbering biker. Oh, I've got cow skulls at the front. I've even got a business card holder on the front of the thing that I have my business cards in and stickers, and they don't blow out. Can you believe that? It was a black bike when I bought it. And I bought black because I didn't want a black bike. And I knew if I bought the beautiful colours, that they've got the Indian red and they've got the willow, they've got some beautiful colours. So I just rode around till I got to 800 Ks for the first service. I said, now when you do the first service, I want you to take the whole bike to bits, and we deliver it to one-day wraps over at Lane Cove. So took all the parts to him, wrapped them, they went and picked it up and we put it back together. So it's a vinyl wrap and it's 4 years old and it's still going strong. So I decided to start bespoking and customising my scooter, which is like a little baby cruiser. It's got cruiser handlebars, it's got a sissy bar. So I've started adding fringing, I've painted it, I've added cows and skulls and stuff, and so I've now christened that Sweet Baby Jane. That's the bastard child of Calamity. So when I've got meetings and buzzing about in the city, Sweet Baby Jane is fantastic. She gets, you know, lane filtering now's okay. She gets up, she gets into places. Yeah, and I'm still adding to her. Like, she's only probably 3/4 of the way of what she's going to look like in the end. She's going to be mental. Now I am thinking of an adventure bike, so I'm looking at a Royal Enfield Himalayan at the moment, and if I get that she will be called GI Jane. I'll keep the Jane theme happening in all my bikes. I get asked to join a lot of groups, and I'll always register and donate to worthy causes, and I'll often say to them, so where are you having lunch? And they go, oh, we're going to end up at this pub. I go, I'll see you there. Once I see cows, if I have cows to the left of me, horses to the right, the smell of methane and roadkill, I'm at my happiest. And one of the things I love about riding is that I have no obligation to anyone. You know, I'm a mum, I'm a grandma, I look after my elderly parents still. You know, I've got a lot of obligation in my life. So for me, bike riding is just not having any obligation to anybody except me. I remember I was coming out of Broken Hill and there was this big, I don't know what it's called, but it was a big bloody truck and it had this big shelf that came out that took over the whole road. And they had the support vehicles and the bloke's waving me. I'm thinking, where the can I go? Like, there's no, I can't go off the road. And he goes like that, he goes under. So I just went down like that and I went under the truck. It was the most exhilarating, scary thing I've ever done in my life. You know, they say it's not about the destination, it's about the ride. I'm a bit sick of hearing that because yes, it is about the ride, but for me, it's actually the destination. I actually love getting to the destination and finding out about that place and exploring and going on adventure and finding people. So, you know, I think the times are changing. I mean, I don't mind riding with some people, but I like to keep it to a maximum of, say, 6. My philosophy is, however many people can sit at a table is the right number. I love being out on my own, it's my zen, it's my moment, but I also love getting to the destination and spending time there. Well, the Barbering Biker saved me. I mean, during COVID, I lost my business. I was a writer-producer. I wrote shows and I had them on tour. I'm an event producer. All that went. And I'm an old hairdresser barber from way back. I haven't done it for many years, but I picked up some work in aged care. And then I'm at the place and I'm cutting like I'd never left the industry. I'm like Edward Scissorhands. And I'm mixing chemicals and I'm thinking, you know what? This trade was so good to me as a young person. It took me around the world. Maybe it's time to revisit my old trade, pick up the tools. How can I join that up with motorbikes? So the Barbering Biker was born. I will go to country towns, I'll go to country pubs, I'll find the local legend, give them a bit of a zhuzhen up, a bit of makeover. Everyone loves a before and after. You know, bring a bit of light-hearted fun to the town, the person, but also the community. So it's a win for everybody. I get to do a ride. I get to explore and I get to go to the destinations that I want to visit, and I can pay it forward with a good deed. And you know, I'm turning some blokes into some good sorts. I swear to God, I reckon they all got lucky the nights that I left them. Personally, I think get a little scooter or a step through or something that's little and manageable just to give you that road sense. That feeling of being very exposed. We get into a car, we've got the protection of the car, we strap ourselves in, we've got alarms that go off the moment we go off the lane, we've got all these protections in a car. Then when you go from that and you jump on a bike and you've got a helmet, you're so exposed. So I tend to say to people, get a scooter and just get that basic vibe going and get your mojo with that, and then, you know, get up to a smaller bike and get into a 500 or less. There's some great little bikes out there for learners and stuff. It's terrific. Well, the world, basically. I mean, I want to ride all around Australia, which I'm planning to do in the next year or so. And then let's get this COVID shit show out of the way, because I want to ride all around North America and Canada. I want to do Europe, UK, Wales, Scotland and Ireland. I've got people waiting for me in all these countries. I'm going to ship her to America for 4 months. But for the other countries, I'd like to be on a bike that's sort of relevant to that country. So if I'm in Europe, maybe a Beamer. You know, the UK, I'd like to do maybe a Triumph or something sort of British. So let's get it happening. Let's get this COVID shit show over so the world can open up so I can get out there. Time's a wasting. Money is time, time is money. The clock's ticking.
I hope you enjoyed Chris's story. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and make sure you get over to Chris's channel, The Barbering Biker, and subscribe to her channel as well. That's all for today, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can ride a motorcycle, and that's kind of the same thing.